What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock, what you should be looking out for the future of this company. I'm also going to give you guys my price prediction for Monday and talk about where I see the share price going based off technical analysis and based off many things. I'm also going to talk about some bullish indicators coming out from the Nasdaq and the SPY that could be a good sign for NIO going forward, and also what's going on with the CPI report, when it's coming out, and how this may affect the market in this upcoming trading week. Now, before I break any of this down, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things real quick. The first thing is I'm not a financial planner, so please don't take this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, but benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, whether it's $1 or $100, it's up to you. You are guaranteed 5 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. Once again, that's free money, and you could always sell these 5 free stocks for cash and buy some NIO shares for free. This is a limited time offer, so please check it out as it ends in just 2 days. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So looking at NIO, currently we're down about 2.99%, or at least since the last trading day. And you could see right here, right off the bat, there's this nice gap up here. Now, I'm not saying this gap has to be filled tomorrow or overnight or anything like that, but it is an indicator that we will have a bit of a comeback quite soon. It doesn't mean it's going to be the biggest comeback ever. It just shows that eventually NIO will make some better price action, but it could also mean that the market could be set for some more downside and the comeback could come a little bit later. So one of the things we have to note before we actually talk about any comebacks or what's happening is this right here. So excuse me, right here we have the CPI report. Okay, CPI is supposed to be the measure of inflation, or at least it's widely accepted that way, and it's going to be for the month of April 2022. So it's scheduled on May 11th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So we're going to find out, okay, did the rate of inflation go up? Did it go down? What actually happened? And this is going to be a very important report because many analysts thought that the March report, when this was last reported, it showed 8.5%, but some people think that's the peak. And Jerome Powell also talks about how he expects inflation to start flattening out. So as a result of this, right, we want to see better results on inflation. We don't want it to be as high as before. We don't want it to be higher than expectations, because if it's too high, if it keeps going up and up and up, the Fed is going to have to be a lot more hawkish, a lot more strict. Jerome Powell already told the markets that he doesn't anticipate, excuse me, at the time of recording this, he doesn't anticipate a 75 basis point rate hike just yet. So as of right now, things are looking, a lot kind of decent for the market. They could look a little bearish based off some things, but we want to see how this plays out in the next, for the next run to actually come for the markets. So looking at this right here, look at the Nasdaq. You can see there's this nice gap right here. And when we go back in the past, oftentimes when you drop and there's a gap, we run up, we fill it, or we drop and then we fill it, we drop again, right? We have a small gap down here. We drop with the gap down. We run up, we fill it. We drop again, there's a small gap. We drop, we run up, we fill the gap. Then we drop, we have like a tiny gap, kind of like right here. We drop, then we just filled it recently. Now we're dropping with the gap again. Do you really think the market is just going to crash down, 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 down eternally? Or do you think it's very probable that we are on a bit of a downward trend? You can see the way the Nasdaq has been dropping. Or do you think that even though we're on a downward trend, we might get a temporary relief? We'll fill this gap before we continue to see some downside, right? Very possible. Look at the SPY, very similar. NIO has a tendency of following the SPY in some ways. Look at this right here. It drops, slight bounce, and there's a gap here. We drop, we fill the gap, go up, we drop, there's a big gap here, right? We trade like this, push up, fill the gap. The gap got filled right here. See, this gap got filled right here. Then we have another gap here, just like the Nasdaq. We drop down, look shaky, everyone's panicking, then all of a sudden, boom, push up, fill the gap within a few weeks. Then We push down. There's a gap on the way down. Do you really think we're just going to push down, 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 and never fill it? Or is it very possible in the short term, within a week or two from now, we're going to fill this gap and we're going to see a bit of a comeback? I think that's what's going to happen, and I do think that's going to happen to NIO because from a technical perspective, if we actually look at this, hold on, look at the RSI, super oversold. This thing, like stocks can't just drop this hard and then never come back. Typically, they do need to make a bit of a bounce to the upside afterwards. Look at the MACD, it looks horrible, right? It's just dropped really hard. Do you really think it's just going to keep dropping down to like $2 a share? I don't see that. In fact, we dropped 15% one day, then we're down at 2%, which shows that the support is holding us a lot better than before. So let's look at this from a technical perspective. The key levels of support would be that $14.92 range, also the $14.46 range, which is where we got the bounce, and the low $14.16 range, which is about 14 flat. That's where we could see the next bounce. And then if we start running, resistance will be at 14.92, could also act as resistance if we end up dropping below it. A push-up will give us 15.69, then 16.41, all as resistance. So what do I think is going to happen to NIO? Well, when it comes to the gap fill, there are two main possibilities in my opinion. One of them is the market is just suddenly, super bullish on Monday. Some people think that could happen and we're just going to fill it. I think that's unlikely. I don't think NIO is going to run like 20% in one day on a Monday. I mean, I would love that, but I don't think that's extremely likely based off all these resistance levels we have on the way up. What could happen is the CPI report could be the catalyst that pushes us up a little bit higher, right? A little bit higher after we already start to push up. So I theorize on Monday, NIO is going to drop a little bit, maybe get a bounce off 14.46, maybe a bounce off 14.16. I think the first 30 minutes are going to be choppy. Right, NIO is going to drop a little bit, get a nice bounce, start pushing, and we're going to push back to about 15.69. We should close around there. Maybe push up maybe a little bit, come close to 16, then push down. I wouldn't be surprised if NIO ends up closing in the high 15s, around 15.69, or maybe almost as high as $16. Then Tuesday might be a little choppy. It's possible we push a little bit higher, but I wouldn't be surprised if on Wednesday or Thursday we actually manage to fill the gap, get a rejection, and end up dropping. So my sentiment is a little bit more on the bullish side because right now the SPY, as you can see, it's holding up. It didn't actually drop below 405, and it does look like it wants to actually have some relief. So I think that's going to help push NIO up. And in my opinion, I'm going to be a little bit more bullish than bearish for the upcoming trading week. That doesn't mean we're going to close, green every day. It just means that I do see some good bullish price action coming, and I do predict that NIO should be close to 16 by Monday, and pretty soon we should fill this gap. Hopefully within a week or two, NIO could be back in the 18 range, and the market will show some improvement. So that's my prediction. That's what I think is going to play out. Don't trade solely based off the prediction part. I showed you a lot of analysis in this video, from support and resistance levels to the RSI, the MACD, what's going on with CPI, and the SPY and NASDAQ. There's a lot of analysis. We did see volume kind of drop as the day went on, so I expect a little bit more bullish volume. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit more pushes from the bulls. And other than that, I think the share price is on a bit of a downward trend. That doesn't mean we're going to be down forever, but I do think there could be more downside in the upcoming weeks. Maybe in like 3, 4, 5 weeks, there could be more downside, but eventually we are going to come back. We are going to break higher levels, and I'm still incredibly bullish based off the fundamentals, based off the expansion, based off the squeeze potential, and everything that's going to help this company, in my opinion. With that out of the way, I want to thank you all for listening. Please have a fantastic rest of the day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. NIO to the moon, and peace out.